INTJs in 20 words. Number 1. Optimised. INTJs are rarely frivolous with their energy. Their allegiance to efficiency doesn't just apply to themselves, but also to the things they create and work on. In this sense, they are optimised people. No fluff, no filler, minimal frills, maximum efficacy. Number 2. Otherworldly. INTJs have two things working against them when trying to appear human. The first is being an NI dominant type, which makes them unusual by default. The second is FE as a blind spot. Both combine to create an individual who is decidedly alien-esque. Number 3. Deliberate. I've often described INTJs as directional and intentional. There is an immense purposefulness to the way they operate. The NI dominance and SE inferior position mean that planning precedes action. Intent comes before impulse, and that the deep percolation process that goes on in their minds means that when they do execute and implement their visions, they've min-maxed themselves into a position where they can strike right at the heart of what needs to be done, and get it done far more easily than most other people. Number 4. Passionate. The absence of words like this in descriptions of INTJs bothers me. Without that deep burning passion, INTJs would not be able to sustain the level of drive, intensity, and commitment that they do. I've often speculated that this massive motivation comes in large part from their FI. Number 5. Systematic. INTJs like to codify their insights in the form of systems, processes, and procedures. In that sense, unlike the more individual TI, TE likes to universalize things. TI wants to solve a problem for itself, often, whereas TE wants to solve the problem, period. TI wants something that works for them, but TE wants something that works well, or well enough, for everyone. It's like the example I've used of my INTJ piano student. He wanted to uncover the optimal approach to learning the piano, and to create a course and product based on that. So my advice of just play around and figure out your own way didn't go down well. Whereas I was giving principles and ideas that could be used in many ways, and styles of practicing and exploring that weren't necessarily linear, he wanted to find a way that you could give to any person and have it work pretty well. In that sense, TE likes to approach things with a systematic mindset. In a more day-to-day sense, INTJs will often use systems to organize their life. Number 6. Esoteric. INTJs often exist in rarefied air, either because of their unusual interests and the depth of knowledge they'll attain around them, or because of their expertise in whatever field they're drawn to. Number 7. Unyielding. Grit, determination, and force of will are all things I associate with INTJs. Without these character traits, they wouldn't be able to bridge that gap between what they envision and what they enact. An INTJ locked onto a goal is not someone you want to get in the way of. Number 8. Phlegmatic. INTJs are typically stoic and composed. It takes a lot to shake them or throw them off. Keep calm and carry on would be an apt INTJ motto, and as a Brit, I feel very qualified to say this. Number 9. Trenchant. INTJs can be incisive, pointed, cutting, and piercing in their analysis and their criticisms of everything and everyone. They can wield their minds like weapons and don't have much mercy for the intellectually unarmed. Number 10. Candid. When you have someone dedicated to problem solving, efficiency, and knowledge, and almost zero allegiance to dancing around people's sensitivities, you have a recipe for a person who cultivates brutal honesty, bluntly delivered, down to an art form. Number 11. Industrious. INTJs are self-directed people who don't need an excuse to get to work. If you leave an INTJ to their own devices, figuratively and literally, they'll just start doing stuff, and doing it well. Number 12. Decisive. This is one of their more underrated traits, in my view. People who cultivate forward momentum in life, and, incidentally, people who make great leaders simply make decisions. Not necessarily even good ones, all the time. They just have the boldness and nerve to decide on a course of action. If it turns out to be wrong, then just change direction by making another decision. Decisive people have an inherent advantage in life, in my view. Number 13. Exacting. Speaking of INTJ leaders and INTJ colleagues, and just INTJs in general, they can be demanding, exacting, and strict in their standards and expectations. This can rub people up the wrong way, but undeniably gets results. What enables INTJs to get away with this is the fact that they themselves will always pull their own weight. There's nothing they'll expect of others that they wouldn't do themselves. In fact, delegation is hard for INTJs, precisely because they doubt that other people will have the requisite competence. Number 14. Inquisitive. It's tempting to picture INTJs plugging away on some scheme of theirs, but much of the time, they're simply following their curiosity down all sorts of paths. The need to know is defining for INTJs. Number 15. Mysterious. Whether this is a reflection of reality, an impression that's created, or something that's done by design, INTJs come across as mysterious. In large part, it's because it's clear that there's so much going on beneath the surface with them, but you never quite know what, specifically. Number 16. Iron-fisted. Does this count as one word? Let's say it does. This is the dark side of the INTJ, when they turn their Machiavellian dials up to 11, stamp out dissenting views, and channel their inner control freak, which always lurks within an INTJ if you look deep enough. Number 17. Judicious. INTJs are often capable of being detached. This, in turn, affords them access to a very fair-minded and objective lens through which to view things. Sound judgment, therefore, is something I greatly associate with them. Number 18. Acerbic. INTJs are known for being sarcastic and biting in their humour and wit. Sometimes people can misunderstand this and interpret them as being offensive, and sometimes they are actually being offensive. Number 19. Formidable. I found this word crossing my lips many a time when talking about INTJs, and I think with good reason. They are not people you want to have as an enemy. Number 20. Convergent. Introverted intuition converges down on insights. Although INTJs might start off broad and even eclectic, their ultimate aim is to come to conclusions, to have answers and solutions, to combine their knowledge in ways that bring about resolution and progress. If you're an INTJ, then I have two more important words for you. The first is subscribe. The second is Discord. As I often say, subscribing after a video is the best way to tell me that you want more videos on this topic or this type. And please consider joining the Underworld INTJ army on the Love Who Discord server. The link is down below in the description of the video.